want me to ask some people? Come.
In 2004, I flew to Pakistan and traveled the country. While I was there, I was followed closely by intelligence officers, and on a couple occasions, detained by police. On my return to the United States, the FBI and Homeland Security thought it was necessary to set up a security checkpoint in the boarding tunnel to question me. I walked out of the airport with the tapes that make this movie. Why did I go through all that? There are 163 million people in Pakistan, and in certain ways, they've all been painted as potential terrorists. One of the 163 million people is my best friend, Usman. In 1997, I met Mia Muhammad Usman. He introduced himself as Gooseman, but it turns out that his real name was Usman, and he was from Pakistan. He went by a nickname to avoid gritting through one butchered pronunciation after the other. He'd only been in America a couple of days. Growing up, I moved around a lot, so I knew what it was like to be the new guy. But being the new guy from the other side of the world has to be a whole nother ballgame. I didn't know too much about Pakistan, until Usman brought it into focus for me. In 2000, I traveled to Pakistan with Usman. He showed me all over the country and introduced me to the generous and hospitable culture there. Then, 9/11 happened. Suddenly, Pakistan was in the media as a possible hiding place of Osama bin Laden and a group called Al-Qaeda. The beautiful nation that I knew was now being portrayed as a nation of terrorists. In 2004, I decided to return to Pakistan. I wanted to make a film that would show a more complete picture of the country that I came to love. When I arrived in Karachi, Usman was translating for a team of New Zealand lifeguards who came to train much-needed Pakistani lifeguards. Before the New Zealanders arrived, 500 people a year were drowning on Pakistan's beaches. By sharing information and working together, these two countries were able to get to the root problem of drowning and minimize its effects. They had to overcome barriers like language, culture, and politics to communicate an answer. I wondered if these same barriers were stopping us from getting to the answer for terrorism. On this trip to Pakistan, Usman revealed to me what it's like to live in a city where violence is an unfortunate part of life. You think we'll ever be able to go by the U.S. Embassy?
No, it's been cornered off because 4 bombs went off right in front of it in the last 2 months.
Yeah.
So you cannot, they've shut that road off totally.
Like, could we walk up to it?
No, probably not. We can see, but I doubt it. They won't risk it.
What was the story with 4 bombs? Were they like every day or?
What was it, Shukib? Once every week?
The person just drove up to the ground near the embassy.
Yeah.
And the car was still on. It was moving while he just sort of walked away from it. And people noticed that. And they called the cops, and they were lucky that time.
The bomb didn't go off? Or?
No, they defused it before it could go off. It was basically, the entire van was filled with high explosives.
Yeah.
And Suzuki, the van is kind of smallish, but there's sufficient amount of explosive, and it can level anything. So
what were the other 3?
I'm not sure, but it was similar to this one, but instead of a Suzuki van, they had cars, I think, stolen cars.
Yeah.
And they had bombs inside the cars.
Did any of them actually go off?
I'm not sure about that. I'm not too. Usman gaya tha? Koi padha tha? Did
Padha tha the?
Yeah, Usman. He's saying that they did go off.
They did go off.
Yeah.
Did anybody die like around them?
Probably. I mean, I don't remember specifically what happened, but I mean, bombs went off. Someone must have died. But you know, it was just unpleasant. They didn't want to take a risk anymore because when the first bomb went off.
Did they ever find a responsible party for it, or?
No, I mean, it was just some could be fundamentalists, could be people from Afghanistan, could be anybody, could be Al-Qaeda, could be even the Indians. I mean, there's just so much, so many possibilities. You never know who it is.
Yeah.
I mean, the Indians may have may just have a terrorist activity here just so that, you know, Pakistan gets a bad name. And likewise, we Pakistanis, you know, nobody says it openly, but the same thing happens on that side of the border. You know?
In India?
Yeah, just to disrupt their tourism or whatever it may be. You know, conspiracy theorists say that basically it's us doing it there, it's them doing it here, and it's all just a thing to make the economy, you know, not do well.
That guy Hashim that I was talking to, the American that had moved over here, he was saying if you look at who benefits, you'll find who's the culprit.
Who's the culprit? Yeah. I mean, nobody really benefited with the American embassy bombs.
He was talking about how the fear of the people was kind of like it helped the government control Pakistanis, basically. That was his view, at least. I don't know.
Well,
I don't know what he was trying to say exactly. But.
See, there's a theory going on right now. This is what people are saying, is that the president of the country is supposed to, by December, take off his army uniform, you know, and become just a civilian leader sort of thing. And people are saying, yeah, I'm talking about Musharraf. So people are saying that all these activities are, you know, one other theory is that it's the government itself doing this. It's the intelligence services doing it so that, you know, they can just make Karachi, you know, make it like an emergency or whatever you call it. And
put it into emergency status?
Yeah, put it into emergency status, and then that way Musharraf can turn around and say, well, right now, you know, one of my major cities is going through a lot. So they're saying that he's doing this as an excuse to tell people that, you know, I need to stay as the chief of the army for a while longer. So, I mean, there's many theories. It just depends. It's something we've grown up with all our lives. I mean, bombs have been just part of our life. If one goes off right now, we're so used to it, we'll just keep on driving and doing what we do every day, go out at night, you know, have fun or whatever it is, because we're immune to it now.
Nader was a friend of Usman's and helped translate for the PALS Lifeguard Project. He thought I should meet his friend Ali Osman. Ali is the lead singer of Junoon and has become famous for his music. But more interesting to me was his devotion to humanity.
Frustrated, have nowhere to go, no school, that, you know, they can't get a job, they're poor, their families have been killed, you know, the houses being bombed, and every other day you have military come in and, you know, kill, beat people, and, you know, kill your brothers or something, and you can't do anything about it. Basically is a slap on your self-respect. And you see that again and again from the time of birth till your adolescence and your adulthood, and you see that, and then you see, man, this is my life. You know, there's no other way. You have to understand what's the problem here. You know, you have to understand why, not who is doing it and when he's going to do it, but why. And you should try to eradicate the cause, you know, rather than saying, oh, let's catch them, because while you're catching 10 of those, 30 other are like, you know, swearing, popping up and saying, we have to fight. There's no other way for them. You cannot promise them a better life. You cannot promise them jobs. You can only promise them grenades and missiles falling in their houses and killing people. You can only offer them that, then that's all they're going to offer back.
Terrorism is not the only label that Pakistan is trying to shed, because stories on riots, burning effigies, and violence in the streets are also common. A political leader was assassinated while we were in Karachi, and there were days of mourning that followed. Usman told me that mourning usually leads to riots by those who align themselves politically with the deceased. His take on this type of violence put me at ease. He said that the problems were in an isolated area, and then put the problem into scope.
Karachi is one of the largest cities in the world. There's 15 million people in the city alone. The city is so big that to go from one point of the city to the other, the extreme points, it'll take you about 3.5 hours of driving. So just imagine that you're sitting in Austin and you have to drive all the way to Houston and maybe a little further, but you're still in the same city. When you take that into perspective, imagine that you're sitting in Austin and the problems in Houston, in that part of the city, you know. So will it really affect someone in Austin? No, they'll go do their business, do their work. What's happening in Houston is happening in Houston, and it happens for a day or two, and that's it, you know. And it's not like the whole of Houston, for example, is in turmoil. It's just a few people go out on the road. It's on one street. It's not like tons of streets are like covered with people and burning stuff. It happens just on one road. They do their stuff, they walk off, they've shown their anger. And surprisingly, because of that, they make the whole of Pakistan look, make the whole of Pakistan seem as if there's always problems in the whole country. Karachi is the only city where the problems arise. Nowhere else will you see these problems. And so you can move freely and do whatever you like. Karachi is big enough, so you move freely here also. Use the size to an advantage.
There are countries where a woman must cover herself before going into public, but this is not a law in Pakistan.
Basically, like, you might have noticed if you're wearing like jeans and stuff, there's a tendency to just look. Like even if you're walking on the street, you might have noticed everyone just looks because you're wearing jeans. You're totally and there's about that much of us, and then there's the rest of the country. But you've lived our whole lives like that, so that I don't know. I don't see it as harassment.
You're used to it.
Yeah, you get used to it. Harassment would be somebody actually like coming up to you and like the nudges and the pokes, or when you're driving. This used to happen a lot in this shit. When you're driving around or going somewhere, people following.
Yeah. I mean, what do they intend to do? What's
nothing. It's just basically to
following you just to follow you.
Just for the sake of following you, just to irritate you, just to get a reaction, just so they get some sort of response.
Yeah. It doesn't always mean something.
No.
Guard your modesty.
Guard your modesty, all that. That has to do with our religion and the Quran. And some people believe that the Quran says guard your modesty, and people believe all sorts of things. Like some people take the hair as modesty, so they think you should just cover your hair. A lot of people think like the whole face is modesty because that's where the beautiful woman is. But some people in Saudi Arabia, like if you see belly dancers and all, they used to dance with their hair open. And the hair used to be perfumed and they used to swish it around.
Yeah.
So because of that, they've interpreted it as cover your hair.
We've been taught what a woman is. We've been taught what a woman is. A woman can be a mother, a sister, a wife, or a daughter. Fine, if she's not your blood sister, and you have more feelings towards her, if you have feelings towards her, make her a wife. If you have other respect for her, if she's your age and you feel she's like your sister, make her a sister. If she's older than you and you respect her like your mother, call her a mother. If she's younger and like a kid and you would look after her, call her your daughter. So we've been brought up in these four things that our religion actually teaches us.
It's like make those people your family.
Yeah, give them four characters. Make her a mother, a sister, a daughter, and a wife. Make them one of these four.
When I met Usman, he called himself Gooseman. He had a friend standing there with him. The friend was calling himself Ford, but was actually Fahad. He grew up in Pakistan, but also spent 6 years in the US. This gave him a unique perspective to the problem of clashing cultures.
There are extremists, there are liberalists. People want to, like I'm roaming around in shorts right now. Although it's a Muslim country, it says Islamic Republic of Pakistan, I'm roaming around in shorts. People don't say anything to me. If a girl or somebody else, if a female walks around maybe in jeans, everybody would just raise their eyebrows and like, what's happening? It's basically a problem with the mixture between Eastern and Western culture. Okay? As a human being, I would tend to, just think about all those people from the same culture as being the same kind. It doesn't work that way because not all 5 fingers are the same.
Yeah.
That's what people do not understand over here. It's like both of them are joining up in Karachi, and that's the problem that we're facing right now. Is where exactly do we draw the line? Where exactly do we go from here?
I watched the news like so many other Americans, and the topic that kept resurfacing was the hate, the resentment that the Muslim people had for my country. So I asked about it to get the answer firsthand. I asked them, where did this idea that they hate us come from?
The typical line put forward is, and they hate us, right? They hate us. They, I don't know who they is. Right. The Muslims hate us because we are so free, and we have all this wealth and bullshit and bullcrap like that. There are countries in Europe which have more freedoms and more security, more wealth than America. You don't see bombs going off there. Yeah, you don't see Muslims attacking those countries. Americans need to realize that Muslims actually, a lot of Muslims, the vast majority I would say, admire America for the freedom that is provided to its own citizens and the protection that is provided to its own citizens. The reason Muslims are angry is because America's foreign policy is so biased against them in most instances.
And so you have to see that there's a balance there. Yes, there is a pocket of resistance here in the third world because there's lot many people who are poor, below the poverty, they live below the poverty line, and you can't really deny it because all the banks, your World Banks and your IMF, everybody controls everything. They got countries by the balls, and they blackmail the third world. So that's the reality of it. And then people who get resentful and try to break out of that, and that's what you see.
Yeah. America is at a much faster rate than us. We are a very slow nation. You see us as being very laid back people. We wake up in the morning, and we're supposed to do something at 9 o'clock, and we still get it done at 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock or 3 in the afternoon. In America, if you miss that 9 o'clock, maximum you can do it till 9:30, otherwise you've lost the chance and you can't do it. So that's why everyone over there is quite fast paced. They do 2 jobs. Now it's great money earning in America. Like my brother, he earns great money. Usman is earning great money if you compare it to Pakistan money. But for America, it's just making your ends meet. For doing a little extra with your life, you'd have to do an extra job. I feel that's the only reason. And that's why people have become harsh towards life.
Yeah.
If somebody's dying, they don't give a just you have to do their shit.
Yeah.
Here somebody's dying, we just give up life and we say, we save him, we've got enough time, I'm going to go to my boss, I'm going to tell my boss that somebody was dying on the road, I saved his life. My boss would have said, why don't you take 2 days off in Pakistan? Yeah. I actually don't get along with the American way of life and everything, for me personally. But I, in a way, do respect the Americans.
Yeah.
The Americans do a lot. They do a lot for the world.
Yeah.
And they have designed themselves that our market is not at home. It's the world. Our market is the world. If we market ourselves to the world, we are successful. So they've made a little village around themselves of the entire bloody world. For us Pakistanis, we cannot even go sell something 2 streets out of our lane. So thinking about the world is far off, man. It's just far off. But in that, why I say that I just don't like the ideas of America, because when they're just looking at us, so what it does, it manipulates us to buy its stuff. It pulls us, it pushes us around, do this or you.
Yeah.
So that's where hatred comes in. You're like, man,
you don't want to be pushed.
Nobody, you don't want to be pushed.
Yeah, true.
And if I turn around.
There's a common culture amongst all Pakistanis. Hospitality is one of the big ones. But subcultures in Pakistan exist as well. One of the proudest of these subcultures are called the Pashtuns. The Pashtuns are an ethnic group that sits on both sides of the Afghan and Pakistan border. They have a cultural tradition and a sense of honor surrounding that tradition that is stronger than the fear of death. It is called Pana, or refuge.
After September 11th, basically the Taliban refused to give Osama because he had also helped them, and he had helped them without any preconditions. And because they were Pakhtun, that mixed with the fact they were Muslims, they just refused to give up Osama because in their culture, Pana or refuge is a very big thing. They take these things very seriously. People in the West thought that this was an excuse not to give up Osama. It is not true. They are very, very strict about these things. If someone asks for refuge, they will give it.
This type of refuge does not only exist in Pashtun lands. The idea of sanctuary has existed for thousands of years, even for criminals. The extent to which Pashtuns would go to honor that part of their culture was amazing to me.
We live by and we swear by it. One is hospitality. I mean, no matter, let's say somebody knocks on the door and says, I want to come in, or let's say a guest comes in, and you've had nothing to eat all day. Let's say you're a poor man, you just get to eat one meal a day, which is a reality in this country. And all he has is, maybe a few mouthfuls. We as Pashtuns are supposed to sit there and offer that food to the guest and insist that he must eat it. So in other words, we are taught to go starve. We're told to starve. If a guest comes, you have no food, give it to him, you should starve. And that's how serious we take hospitality. And as far as refuge is concerned, I could, let's say my biggest enemy, whoever it may be, let's say there's somebody who's murdered someone in my family, and he knocks on my door one day and says, you know what, I'm in trouble right now, and I know this guy is my biggest enemy, but he comes to me seeking refuge. I will invite him in and say, okay, you can seek refuge. I mean, the minute he goes out, I'll still be gunning for him, because the third thing that's a huge thing for us is revenge. Pashtuns are known for revenge. I think the bad side of a Pashtun is that we're extremely, extremely arrogant people. We think that we're above every other ethnic race that there is in Pakistan. Because of all these codes that we have, honor, we can fight, when the wars happen, they say, oh, send the Pashtuns in or something like that, because we're considered the strongest and the most willed and one with the most honor. So we're very arrogant people. We are, in all honesty, we're sort of racist against all other ethnicities. There is a sense of racism amongst Pathans. We don't like certain ethnic groups. We just don't. Is there a reason? Have they done us wrong? No, we just don't like them. In the tribal regions, you won't see someone who's a non-Pashtun. I can walk in, but a Punjabi or a Sindhi can't just waltz in. You get shot. Or they'll ask him, they'll question him, they'll harass him, they'll be like, who are you? And then he turns around and says, he's Punjabi, and that's a no-no. You'll be like, what do you mean Punjabi? What are you doing here? This is Pashtun tribe, get out of our tribal area.
If I walked into their village, I wouldn't be allowed?
Let's say if Andy walked into the village, there would be a certain sense of curiosity as to Andy. The reason why I feel that there might be a little difference with Andy is because we are arrogant and racist, but more against our own ethnic groups rather than a foreigner. If he seeks refuge, they'll make him a guest, and once he's a guest, there's nobody in any tribe. They will fight a war. They will literally go to war if some other tribe finds out that there's an American and they come after him. The tribe that's giving Andy refuge will actually fight a war against him to save Andy. And who's Andy? He's just a guy who walked in and asked for refuge, and they don't know anything about him, but that's our own.
The culture of Pakistan starts and ends with religion, so they like to talk about it. Usman's cooks asked what religion I followed. Usman took it one step further and explained how my religion fit with theirs.
मैंने कुछ लिखा कुरान में जो मैंने पढ़ा है वो ये लिखा है कि ईसा अलैहिस्सलाम आएगा सब कुछ खत्म करने के लिए. In our book then it says that the Prophet Muhammad is the last prophet bringing the last religion, recognized religion. He's the last person to be given a book by God, which is the Quran. But then it does go on to say that eventually Jesus will come to earth. Back. The Quran says that? The Quran says that. That Jesus will come back to earth to basically end everything and...
Same belief.
Same belief. Yeah. तुम्हें पता है ना? I'm going to tell him about the Jesus thing. He'll freak out. But anyhow. हमारी किताब में I said that there's no religion better. All religions were sent by God. All prophets were sent by God. Christians, the book, the Bible is God-given. Moses, his book is God-given. Our book is God-given. So we can't sit there and point a finger at a Christian and say that he's wrong. Because at the end of the day, then we're trying to say that what God gave them is wrong. Which again is wrong on our part to say that God is wrong. So basically, I mean, I'm trying to explain to them that don't ever point a finger at someone or think that you're better than them and that you'll go to heaven, because at the end of the day, religion is between you and God. Your priest or my priest cannot do anything for us. Follow what you think is right, create your own understanding of the book, The religion eventually is between you and God. When you die, your priest is not going to be sitting next to you as a lawyer, you know, in front of the gates of heaven or whatever it is. It's going to be you and God. He's going to ask you, okay, you did 50,000 wrong things, you did 10,000 good things, the balance is not in your favor, hell's your way. You can't get, you know, the top lawyer or whatever up there and be like, oh, you know, fight my case for me because you told me to kill that
particular sin.
Yeah, you told me about this sin because you said if I kill that guy, I'll actually go to heaven. But hey, dude, that's sending me to hell. So I said, create your own religion. I mean, create your own understanding, not your own religion.
We should all start our own religion.
Yeah.
During our discussion, Usman gave us his understanding of an ambiguous subject, jihad.
I said jihad, basically, you know, I mean, it's a fight with yourself, your inner self. You're supposed to fight with your inner self, you know, fight your desires, all these wrong things, fight that, fight your addictions. That's a jihad on its own. Yes, there is a jihad that says, you know, fight to save your religion. And I said these wars that have happened, if America is attacking Afghanistan or if so-and-so is attacking Afghanistan, it's not to kill, it's not to end Islam as a religion. It's to get the terrorists. I said if these terrorists were sitting not in Afghanistan but somewhere else, and I said America asked Afghanistan, hand over these guys, we won't do anything. When they didn't hand them over, they went to war. I said this was any other country, same thing. You know, I said, so the war is not against Islam. If the war is against Islam, then we should fight to save our religion.
Anything you want, you'll find. Fridge, TVs. Oh, TVs are real cheap here. I mean, you want music systems, stereo systems, car stereo systems. Yeah. You know.
What's your name?
My name is Khalid Zafar. I'm from Karachi. Doing business, electronics, video games. There is no Taliban in Pakistan. No Taliban. And we are also against them because they are extremists. We are fighting against them. We know they are extremists. They are killing even Muslim people who are in Karachi. I mean, everybody all over the world knows this. The people know this.
Yeah.
So we are against them. We are not Taliban. The thing is, this Western country have to know that we are not belonging to them. That there is no Taliban over here in Pakistan.
Have you seen any violence in Pakistan?
I've seen violence. Some places they are doing it. These extremists are doing it. We are fighting against them. Of course, they are blasting. They are blasting.
But is violence very common here?
No, there is no violence. I mean, you are here. I mean, only here in Karachi. You went I think you went all places. You visited Pakistan. Did you see any violence over here?
Not once.
There's only a small percentage of people like the Taliban. Like he says, I mean, you've got enough footage on camera to show everyday life here, but you know, there are so many Muslims in the world, only I would say 0.1%, even less than that, are extremists. And they don't really make a difference in his life or my life directly. They only make it indirectly because they're ruining things for us. By what the Taliban do, by what all these extremists do, it's affecting his business. People don't want to come to Pakistan. He could make more money as a business person. They're giving us liberal Muslims a bad name. They're making every Muslim seem you know, like a terrorist or someone who wants to fight. So they've actually harmed us by doing all these stupid things. Like me in America, when I was there, I came back because I didn't get the visa. I know that before September 11th, I would have gotten the visa, no problem. They ruined it for me. I had a great life there. And lots of people blame them. Lots of people have come back. They can't get jobs in the US because they're Muslim or because they're Pakistani. There is discrimination going on there, but I don't blame the Americans. So that's what it is. But now, getting back to Xbox.
Usman and I flew north to see his mom and dad in a city called Aptabad. They had a few people around the house that helped out. One of the days that Usman was off playing golf, Yusuf and Aurangzeb helped me to see more of the city. They took me to one of the highest places in town so that I could take some pictures. While we were up there, we saw this wedding going on. The next thing I knew, I was being invited to stay for lunch. I wasn't surprised that they were friendly, but I couldn't believe they would invite a total stranger to a wedding.
Walaikum salam. How are you?
Thank you. Welcome.
You are from? U.S.
Oh, U.S.
Yeah.
Which part of U.S.?
Texas.
Yeah, Texas.
Yeah.
Okay. You're welcome. What are you doing here?
I'm making a documentary and vacationing. I'm gonna go see the north in a couple days. So.
Yeah. That's great. Come on, let's have your lunch here with us. You can take lunch? No, that's good. Come on.
All right.
You can see the marriage festivities, how people come and talk to them.
I'm making a documentary. That's why I have the camera with me. But,
Documentary
documentary, yeah, about Pakistan and some of the finer things about Pakistan. See, on the news, all we get is the violence in Karachi, you know, and we don't get the everything else, you know.
What do you know about this country also?
I've been here 4 years ago, and I visited around, and I noticed that the people were so friendly and hospitable and everything, and I thought that.
What is the color of the people of the Pakistan? What do you know about it? Colorful society.
Yeah. They're just beautiful people. I mean, they're just so kind. They're just so open and friendly. I mean, it just
friendly.
Yeah, very friendly.
So you know, Pakistan is a country, a bit poorer country, and you know, one can't afford to expand more. As US have a lot of money.
Right. And money helps sometimes.
But Pakistanis have always been very good towards the US. Though US has not been reciprocating in the same way, but the Pakistanis always they are sacrificing the government, the people. There are a few people in minority who don't sometimes do it and do against the interests of the US and Pakistan. They are not in favor of it. But the reason behind that was the policy, sometimes changing policies of the US towards Pakistan and preferring India. Once they prefer India, then they say that, oh.
Well, I wrote down camera, battery, power pack. We have to make medical supplies. Sleeping bags, gas can, tire, figure out how to work with the camera weight. Call Ali Muhammad to arrange a diary.
What can one do?
Pray. If this gets blown away, then we just sit there and pray.
We were going to the Himalayas to trek, but we needed a few more items before we could leave.
We're going to go get supplies for our trip up north. We're just going to go to the pharmacy. Chale, shukriya. You want to check out sleeping bags? Is this good enough?
How much is it for?
4.
I mean, it is kind of heavy, is the only thing.
Is it?
Is that the only place that would have sleeping bags?
Yeah. Pissing me off.
What was that guy saying to you?
He's like, what's this film being made here? I said, we're here from America. We're making a documentary and on Pakistan and stuff. So he's like, well, did you take any permission from anybody? I said, no, who needs permission? We're filming. He says, well, you know, you just walked into a store, an army store, and there's badges, you know, and this and that. You need to take permission, and I don't know where else you've been. I said, yeah, I've been all over the country, so don't ask me where He's like, well, there's no reason to get angry. I'm like, it's not a matter of getting angry. You know, you're getting into my face. He's like, well, you know, you should worry about where you're making a movie because, you know, we don't know what you're here for. I said, listen, I know as far as what I can do and what I cannot do. You know, I said, if nobody's going to object, we'll make the movie. If somebody objects, we'll shut the camera off.
A friend of the shopkeeper overheard everything that happened. He apologized for the event and asked us to come to his house for tea.
Yeah, this is my home. My name is Nasser, you know. One of our guests is from America.
Oh.
He's here.
Huh.
So, I'm very happy that you are here today. So, please have a seat.
Yeah.
Yeah, Maharaj, the shop which you visited in the morning, that belonged to my friend, Salim,
okay.
Army Variety Center.
Yeah.
And I am his friend, my name is Nasser. And I am Christian, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
My father's name is Lazarus, Lazarus you can say.
Right.
And one very nice Reverend Sardar Bud is here. You know why I have called you here? I am an artist, you know. Yeah, I play guitar, I play tabla. I hope that I will play and you can have a recording. That is why I have given you this trouble to come.
He stopped me. First I said, you know, we'll come tomorrow, but then he says, no, I would like to meet this person. One, he's very polite to apologize for the morning.
Yeah.
Also, he speaks English very well, so I want to interview him for my film. So
nice
he's making a movie on Pakistan and trying to show that Pakistan is not all about violence. And
yeah, no. A lot of good people are here.
Yeah.
They love music, they love poetry, they love humanity.
Love the art.
Yeah, love the art, yeah. We human beings are the same. Whatever, if one is Hindu, one is Muslim, one is Christian like me, but God has created us. God is our Father. He is like our Father, you know. He loves us, whatever we are. But He likes humanity. If we are good human, if we are Muslim or Christian, no problem.
doesn't matter.
Yeah. God is the honor. He loves us.
Yeah.
The good thing is this, that He loves us. And it's very nice to meet you.
Yeah, you as well.
Thank you. But let me tell them to prepare a tea for you.
Very good that you picked on this opportunity.
Yeah.
It's unique, man. I would never imagine it.
They are very nice people. I have not seen anything in them wrong regarding they are not orthodox people. Even our Pakistani people are very loving people. They love American people because American people have always loved our people. They have helped through thick and thin. If we are sitting peacefully, it is because of them.
Nasir, what do you think? I mean, you said that Americans are very nice people. You know, he's an American, he's a good old friend of mine. I lived there 7 years.
Oh, nice.
So, but what do you feel, what do you have to say to people from abroad? Should they come to this country? Is there anything worth coming to here? People are scared, they see CNN, they see violence. I mean, how can you tell them that, you know, things are fine?
A lot of people are very nice here. I cannot say that everyone is good, but mostly 90% people are very nice here. And you know, government is giving a very nice support to the foreigners. They can come here, they can invest in our country, and we can progress with their help, because you know, we have to grow, we have to move ahead. Right. Our country is far behind than their level. When they will come here, they will invest here, our people will grow, they will have more good education. So in this way,
are they safe here?
Yeah, inshallah, they are safe here.
You think Americans or any foreigner should have no problems? It's safe.
No problem. Yes, very safe.
Now tell me one thing, you're Christian, right?
Yeah.
As a Christian living in Pakistan, have you ever had any discrimination, any problems, or have people in Pakistan accepted you as you are because you're a good person?
My age is about 43 years. So since this time I have no any discrimination with the people. My 95% are Muslim people. You have seen, and they have never told me that if I am a Muslim or a Christian, there is no any quarrel between us, and they respect me, they love me. But I have seen everyone is very nice to me, and I love my country. Whatever it is, we want to live here, we want to die here in our country. So Pakistan, if Pakistan is here, we are here in this world. We are very proud to be Pakistani, you know.
And I think you probably have 1 minute on tape, so we should say our goodbyes. That at least we copy this on tape.
Yeah.
So Nasir
at any other good time, one day we will see you. Thank you, Andy bhai. Nice to. Thank you very much. You came here and gave a very precious time to us.
Thank you so much that you gave us this.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
This must play in the TV in America.
They love us. Muslim people are very good people. Their religion is very nice, you know. They're Muslim. They believe in one God. They believe in one prophet. They respect all the prophets. They love us. And they are, as far as my experience, they love us. As we are here, because you know, a lot of majority is Muslim people. But why we are here? Because of their love. If they are not here, then from where? Yeah. They give us time, they love us, and you are Muslim, you are like our brother.
I am definitely a brother.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I have Jewish brothers, I have Hindu brothers.
Yeah.
To me, it never matters, because at the end of the day, you know, the way I look at religion is that you can call him God, I can call him Allah, you can call him anything, but I feel that it is a mountain and on top sits God. So no matter which way you climb, you'll reach the same thing.
Our destination is the same.
Destination is the same. So you climb as a Muslim, you climb as a Christian, you climb as a Hindu, you climb as a Jew.
You need to be good human.
You have to be good to get there.
Usman and I were off to see the Himalayas, but our tailpipe came loose. We found a mechanic in a nearby town. While the man worked underneath the car, the hospitable workers gave us sodas for having to wait. We got going again, then stopped because of a pretty view. There were two men waiting there by their truck for a flat tire to be fixed. They told us about the decorations on the truck while we sat there. Decorations gave the truck a unique identity. When we got back on the road, all of our experiences hit Usman. Pakistanis were gentle people, and they were being portrayed as something else.
I was just saying that it's so frustrating. I mean, I really, like, talking to these truck guys and stuff, it just made me realize, I get frustrated how you're here, you know, all the way from there, and nobody, I mean, wherever we get off, do whatever we want to do, talk to the truck guy, go, you know, fix the car, the guy's bringing us sodas, sir, please have a soda, we're making you wait. I mean, they're so poor, but yet they're so accommodating, and then the world has to sit there and say so much shit about us and so many negative things that people are like this, people are like that. They don't even care what your race, your color is. I mean, how many people have we met? Nobody cares. They're more curious than anything else, and once they know, they're actually excited to meet someone from abroad. And then there you go, CNN and Pakistan this, and don't go there, and don't do this. Not one person hasn't been accommodating or hospitable. You know, it is sickening at times. It just pisses me off. But yeah. Don't you agree, Andy? I mean, from your experiences?
Without a doubt, I mean, I'm seeing this stuff the same way that I saw it the first time I was here.
True, but
and September 11th didn't change any of it. Yeah, people are more aware of Muslims in different parts of the world, but it doesn't mean Muslims are dangerous or anything like that, or a Muslim country is dangerous.
Yeah, they have a negative opinion. For what reason? Some Muslims did it, fine, I don't disagree. But why classify them as Muslims? For example, when Pakistan blew up its nuclear bomb, right? It tested its nuclear weapon. You know what the world called it? The Islamic bomb. Why are you calling it the Islamic bomb? Pakistan is not saying it's the Islamic bomb. We're saying it's a nuclear bomb that we tested because India tested its own bomb. Why don't you call the Indian bomb the Hindu bomb? You don't call that the Hindu bomb, but when the Muslim country does it, it suddenly becomes the Islamic bomb, and you give it a bad name. You know, if the Americans do it, I mean, or someone, the Israelis tested that thing. Did we say the Jewish bomb? No. Oh, it's the Israelis doing the nuclear testing, and that's it. But a Muslim does it? Oh, it's the Islamic bomb, it's the jihad bomb, and this is not us saying it. This is media.
Usman was passionate about what was happening to his people. He's not the only one. To be a fellow Muslim is to be a fellow brother. Martin Luther King Jr. said, "Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere." There are injustices going on in the world, but there is no easy answer for this. It's hard to tell people not to retaliate when they've been attacked. I can tell you this, though. No country or religion was responsible for September 11th.
It's scary at times because it's just, you can't fathom how big these things are. It's not like a hell, I mean, it's just unbelievable. You could drive, I can guarantee you could drive 50 times up and down, and each time you'd notice something different. Because there's just so much to view that even your vision, I mean, you look here and your vision can only see like a tenth of what the whole thing is. It's just huge.
The mountains were no different than the problems we had been talking about. From every angle that you looked at the mighty mountains, it looked different. From every angle that you looked at the mighty problem of terrorism, it was also looked at differently. But the mountain is still there, and so is terrorism. Since the day we left the Diosai Plateau in 2000, Usman and I talked about doing another trek. We were finally going to do it after 4 years. We arrived in Skardu and only a 2-hour drive separated us from our 4-day trekking adventure. The Diosai Plateau is in the Kashmir region of Pakistan. Kashmir itself is a region of disputed land. Pakistan, India, and China all control various sections of the region. The disputed border between Pakistan and India is called the Siachen Glacier. Both countries claim control of the glacier for geographically strategic reasons. This is because the main source of the water for the Indus is the runoff from the glaciers. The river is vital to both countries, therefore control of the glacier means control of the Indus. Currently, India maintains the high ground on the battlefield, which is the glacier itself. Pakistanis cannot get up to the glacier, and the Indians cannot come down. Neither army can move forward, but the fight still goes on. The town of Skardu is the staging ground for Pakistan's troops headed to Siachen. It's also the staging ground for K2 treks. For Usman and I, it was the staging ground to go see the highest plateau in the world, the Diosai. 4 years of planning and I got sick. I still don't know what it was from, but I imagine it was a combination of viral, diet, and the altitude. But I've never felt that powerless in my life. I was so weak that walking was even a chore. We did drive around the plateau, but trekking wasn't an option. On our drive, we saw a few animals and wildflowers. We even stopped for tea. But it wasn't a trek. It wasn't the adventure we came here for. Every part of my mind wanted to see more of the plateau, but my body just couldn't. The tent that we had wasn't warm enough for the weather. Some locals saw this and saw how weak I was. They decided to take me into their home. I thanked them for what they did. Usman bought a sheep to say thanks in his own way, and we had a feast with them. I hadn't seen a slaughter before. Everyone was quiet and calm. A prayer was recited, and the sheep was dead. The surreal feelings went away as time passed. I was too sick to eat the meat of the lamb, but I was able to drink some of the broth. The next morning we left for Skardu. Every mile that we got closer to the city, I felt better. The first time I visited the Kashmir region, we had a guide named Ali Khan. This time around, he was our guide again, but he was more like an old friend. He took us to his friend's hotel where we started eating in the dining hall. A few days later, we were eating in the kitchen. It was called the Hotel Sadpata International, but the people there made it feel like home. Every night we would make plans to leave in the morning, and every morning we would decide to stay one more day. That lasted for a week. Everywhere you looked in this region, there was a new experience to be had. Towards the end of the 7 days, Nasser took us to a polo match in town. The locals played local music and danced during the game. The polo was part of a festival celebrating K2 being conquered for the first time 50 years ago. Italians and Pakistanis celebrated together on the occasion. In the midst of all this, Usman and I were being followed. We didn't know we were being followed until they came to us. We were sure they were following us when they proved it. In the U.S., we're familiar with a few intelligence agencies: the FBI, the CIA, the Department of Homeland Security, and the NSA. In Pakistan, they have one organization that encompasses them all. It's called the ISI. It stands for Inner Services Intelligence. While the U.S. relies on a lot of technology to help them gather information, the ISI uses more human intelligence. Other than that, I can't really tell you a whole lot, but no one outside these organizations really knows too much. The people that I said were watching us were from the ISI Kashmir region. The man that spoke with us didn't even tell us his name, but he knew almost everything about us. He didn't even ask us what we were up to, because he already knew. Instead, he told us what we were doing. I didn't understand much of the conversation, because a lot of it was in Urdu, but the man briefly spoke to me in perfect English. He was very polite. At the time of the first conversation, I didn't even know that he was in the ISI. In fact, he never told me who he was at all. It was just chit-chat when it was in English. When the man left, Usman told me everything. Then he told us that he would be speaking with us the next day. We asked him where we should meet him, and he said, "Don't worry about that. I'll find you." And he did. He found us every day, everywhere we went. But before he left, he said not to worry about what was going on, because what we were doing was a very good thing. The oddest meeting was when we were amongst the thousands of people at the polo match. People were there from the Pakistani government, the Italian government, the media was all over the place, and every big name in town showed up. But the man still had his eyes on us. As we were packing up and getting ready to leave the polo grounds, he walked up to us as if he had never left our sides. As you can imagine, it was weird knowing that every little move you made was being watched. But life went on, and so did the documentary.
He says it's obviously a terrible thing that the buildings fell. He says so many people died and lots of Pakistanis died in it as well. And so I said, is it just Pakistanis you worry about? He's like, no, about 3,000 people died, and you know that's just not right what happened. So I said, do you support the people who did it because they're Muslims? He's like, no. He's like, that's bullshit. You know, jihad is not killing. There were some Muslims in there and they killed their own people as well. I said, that's no jihad. I don't support that.
The word terrorist has become loaded. It doesn't mean the same thing every time it's used. Since 9/11, the American government has called virtually any person who's raised arms against the Americans or American allies a terrorist. The word used to refer to organizations that used horrific attacks on civilians to instill fear in a society. Now, any unconventional war tactic gets lumped into the same category, regardless of whether civilians are involved or not. If you want to get to the root of all this, it's important to understand that they believe that they are doing this for a reason other than just pure hate. Many of them believe they are fighting for freedom or retaliating for what's been done to them. I ask this: what do we call a soldier from a sovereign nation that wrongly kills an innocent civilian?
That there was a small kid of 6 years sitting with a wall, shot, and he was shot repeatedly by an Israeli soldier, right. And he missed 7-8 shots, and then the 8th shot he hit the boy, and the boy was with his father. Right?
Everybody saw
Do you say that the father has all the right to become a terrorist? If I am his father, I would be a terrorist. No. You know, my son, a small son, you know, this much a small son is sitting with me and he cannot pick a weapon. How can he be a terrorist, and why he is shot?
That I agree with.
This is where the terrorism starts. People sitting there, the people bombed, the small little kids killed. So what he would do? He would pick a weapon and he would, he would tie up a bomb to him and he would try to, explode himself.
What would you do if you have, that's something even I always tell, even Andy, I say, yeah, what do you expect if someone has nothing to lose? Tomorrow my wife, kids, everyone, or my sisters, brothers, parents are blown up. What do I have to live for?
Live for.
And if there's no justice for me, no law for, if I can't go to the court and say, this person shot my whole family, put him in jail. This is not limited to us being Muslims or something. If an American was put in the same position,
he would have been done the same.
This is something that a human being would do. Forget if he's American, British, English, whatever country he comes from.
They fought their independence,
Yeah, if any human being is put in a situation where his whole family is gone and he does not have justice or a court to go to that will fight his case for him, then even the most best American or any peaceful person in the world will do the same thing. It's not limited to Islam or Muslims. Even a Christian would do it. Even a Jew would do it in the same situation.
Osama bin Laden and they hardly matter.
No, they don't matter. The big picture for America is that they are here present in Afghanistan and in this region. They're close to China. They have the trade route that the whole world has been dying to get, which is the Central Asian trade route through Afghanistan. America is sitting there. They will purposely try and not find bin Laden because the minute they do, their reasons for being in Afghanistan will finish. Now, one thing I say about America, they're the smartest people in the world because they're looking for their self-interest. That is the goal of any country and should be. Self-interest to make your country stronger, to make it better. And in that, if you're making someone else weaker, well, that's your survival.
The word Mujahideen was taken in the West as the saviors of the world because they were fighting the communists. Now, why that black mole in the word with the name of Afghanistan was left without any purpose in 1988? Why it was left?
No, that's
if
wrong.
Those people would have been fed, those people would have been rehabilitated in Afghanistan, I think this scenario would have been entirely changed.
They helped us to get their own cause, but then they absolutely got up and left. Chalo, you say, okay, yaar, I helped you save your country, thank you very much, goodbye. But it's a different thing that when they left, 6 months later they turned around and said, yeah, you guys are terrorists. Where do you have the Stinger missile from? Where do you have this from? Where do you have that from? So the government that helped you not only left but turned around and then stabbed you in the back. We as Muslims would look very good to the rest of the world if we stopped using Islam as a reason to do everything wrong. Or you blow up 2 buildings and you say jihad. Okay, that you're a Muslim, he's a Muslim, I'm a Muslim, he's a Muslim. We all know that that was wrong. We try to rule a country with a religion. Religion is on one side. Ruling a country is on different side. You don't take a religion and try to rule 20 in Pakistan. How many different sects of religion are there?
You are absolutely
so
right.
So you are sitting here with your Islam, Sharia, and you are telling a Christian, you're telling a Hindu to follow it. If I was a Hindu tomorrow, I'd say, yeah, forget it. Who are you? I believe in someone else. Religion is between me and my God.
We are not, yes.
Government is a different system. Governing is a different way. And religion should stay on the side. Government should stay on the side. I think that
religion should be a choice.
I think religion should be a choice, not something forced. We should stop using our religion as a reason. That's what I'm trying to say.
But once the Russians were in that Afghanistan terrain, it was a jihad.
No, jihad is against Islam.
Okay.
If the Russians said we want to get rid of Muslims, then we can stand up and say,
okay, whatsoever, it was a war.
We finally left Skurdu. We were treated like family, and so we said goodbye like family. We didn't just pay our bill at the hotel and leave. We didn't just drive by the gas station and fill up. We got out, and we said goodbye to the men who fed us, who let us stay in their hotel, who filled our gas tank, and helped us find our way through town. We didn't just visit Skurdu. It was more than that. On our way back to Abtabad, we did everything in reverse, but we had a companion along for the ride. Captain Shahzad rode with us to Jaglot. All along the way, he told us about the mountains and the river that he fought over and fought for. When we got to Jaglot, we said goodbye to Shahzad and continued on our way. We made it to Chilas before the sun went down and spent the night there. The owner of the Chilas Inn, Abdul Hakim, would not let Usman and I pay for the room because he was a friend of his father's. Finally, we were home again, this time in Aptabad. His sister Faiza came from Prague to meet us there. I hadn't seen her since my first trip to Pakistan. Little had changed. Faiza still asked lots of questions, and the power still went out.
But why did you choose Pakistan as Skardu?
I was sitting with my parents' friends at we were having dinner, and I said I was going to take a month off to start filming. They were like, "Well, what are you passionate about?" I told them I've always wanted to make a documentary about Pakistan, but I was afraid to kind of because I didn't really think it was going to work out. And they were like, "No, do that."
Did they actually encourage you?
Yeah, I don't think people have anything to be afraid of. That's why I came here. Everybody before I left said like, "You're going to Pakistan, you're crazy, I can't believe you're doing that." And to me it was just like, I've been to Pakistan, it's perfectly safe, why avoid it, you know? Sometimes I think that when people tell you be afraid of something, you should go do it. I can't be afraid myself if that's what I'm trying to do.
True.
And the truth is, most people are peaceful and most people are good. And I don't know. I hope that comes out in my documentary once it's done, is that most people in life are good and you can trust people and things are safe in this world. We just don't realize them.
This is a very, very old town. It's called Aptabad because there was a general known as General Abbott, and so from that it was known as Abbott Abad, meaning land of Abbott, or area of Abbott. All these buildings you see up here, Hindus used to live here predominantly. My father tells me that when there was partition in 1947, he was old enough and he grew up here, and he remembers that he saw Hindus being slaughtered. Across the border, what happened was all the Hindus were killing all the Muslims who were trying to cross the border, and so in retaliation, all the Muslims here were killing all the Hindus who were trying to go back to that side of the border. It was considered the largest massacre ever in history. The amount of people who died during partition is considered the largest massacre. I don't know, over 1 million people were killed. It was a very, very bloody partition and founding of a nation, and he says that there were Jewish Pathans. Pathans, by the way, if you go into the history of a Pathan, where nobody will accept it, no Pathan will readily want to accept it, but if you look at history, we are actually considered to be one of the lost tribes of the Jews. There's a lot of things, a lot of evidence as to why we are considered the lost tribe. One of the things is that in Mardan, which is close to our village, there are 2 rocks that have been found, an archaeological find, which nobody seems to talk about. No Pathan will want to bring it up, but there are 2 rocks found which clearly states that we are Jewish, we came to this land. And then if you look at our features, I have a Greek nose or whatever, but if you look at our features, the Pathan features, people say that they look very Jewish. They have the typical, long, narrow nose and those eyes, and a lot of features match up.
A lot of blue eyes.
A lot of blue eyes, a lot of green eyes, and if you look at our surnames, Yusuf Zai, for example, it means son of Joseph. Yusuf Zai is a clan. It's a Pathan clan tribe, and it's called Yusuf Zai, and Yusuf Zai means son of Yusuf, or place of Yusuf, or place of Joseph, and Joseph was. Okay, one other thing. There's a blood disorder known as Tay-Sachs. Okay, it's a blood disorder. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure, but it's like leukemia or something. But it's called Tay-Sachs. So Tay-Sachs is found predominantly in Jewish people, and the only other people that is found predominantly is in Pathans. And when my sister was getting married, she had to get tested for Tay-Sachs, and so did my brother-in-law. My sister came positive, he came negative, so they got married, because if both people carry it, then the kids get it. My aunt, who's like Jewish, American, white, as Jewish as they can come, She doesn't have it, but my uncle does, who married her. So yeah, so there's a lot of evidence to it. But no Pathan wants to accept it because they're all like Islam and Muslim and blah blah blah. You sit with one and you tell him, hey, by the way, you know, you don't like the Jews, your descendants were Jewish. Probably shoot you, but you're right. Dalta de kushu. So we're now getting off of fireworks, which are illegal in Pakistan, but that's fine. What isn't illegal here, but we still do it.
The closest major city to Afghanistan is Peshawar. To the west of Peshawar is the Khyber Pass, the gateway between the two countries. Many believe that Osama bin Laden may be hiding near or in Peshawar. I have no clue, but I can tell you this: the food alone is worth the trip. Usman's family came from Peshawar and still has a couple of homes there. His grandparents' house was being remodeled. While we walked around, Usman told me about a ghost story that he experienced there.
I think there's ghosts in this house. There are stories. A lot of ghost stories come from this room, or at least maybe our parents told us to scare us. And one night the dog was just barking and barking and barking and just would not stop barking. And they say there's a thing, they say that animals can sense ghosts and stuff before we can. You know, just like birds know when the weather's going to change before human beings do. You know, you suddenly won't see birds flying when the storm's coming. Something of that sort. Anyhow, dog's barking and I look up and I look behind me and there's that grill sort of thing, you know. And then behind it I thought I saw the image of a man just peering in, but he had like really weird eyes. I don't know if I was just seeing things or if I actually saw something, but I saw it.
About his eyes?
They were like yellow, like they were like just like staring right at me. And for a couple of minutes, but it could have been I could have just seen something or my mind was playing tricks on me. But that's, I guess, you know, I don't know, but I've never seen anything like that. Nothing like that's happened to me before.
Ghost stories and media stories have a few things in common, especially fear. A lot of times the fear has long-lasting effects on behavior, whether it's a fear-driven news story or a fear-driven ghost story. The house has a mosque on the property. While we were touring the mosque, we had our second run-in with the ISI. The high walls blocked our vision from the military barracks just 15 feet from us. Just as we were finishing the interview, a man holding a black machine gun said, "Bye, either ao." It means brother, come here. I pretended not to understand and looked to Usman. He said one word to me, go. I did, and as I looked back, Usman was not with me. I sat by our car while we were split up. A man politely came up to me, bought me a Coke, and started asking me questions. I was honest with him, but I didn't even know who he was. I was still in panic mode, and it didn't occur to me that I was being questioned by authority. The man disappeared and Usman showed up. He told me to follow him. I took off my shoes, walked across the mosque, into the military camp, past the guy with the black machine gun, sat down, and I was surrounded by at least 15 men. We sat there for an hour and a half answering questions, showing IDs, passports, and proving that we were who we said we were. The mood didn't lighten up until they asked to see the video I was shooting. They saw us in the house and they saw us in the mosque, but most importantly, they saw the buffalo panic with a camera on its face. Usman made a call to his uncle, who was a retired army officer, and he cleared our name. When we left, Usman explained everything to me. We were just being questioned by the ISI again. Only this time, it was the military division. Leaving that base released a lot of tension. We were happy, to say the least.
Something in my ear.
Excellent ear scratch. Here, I'll get it for you.
No, that's fine. Islamabad. Welcome to Islam. That's a good sign to have.
Islamabad the Beautiful.
Islamabad is the capital of Pakistan. While much of the country is disorganized and unkept, Islamabad was rebuilt as a design city in the 60s, with the goal being to find lines and organization needed to govern the nation. Usman had a friend in Islamabad named Faisal. Our connection with him landed us a unique opportunity. He, his two brothers, and their wives were all going to a wedding. The people having the wedding welcomed us after Faisal asked if we could attend. Here I was, a stranger at a wedding again, and again, Pakistani hospitality came first. They invited us to hear the classic wedding songs and see the traditional dances. It was like nothing I'd ever witnessed before. It was all smiles and all fun. The youngest brother, Omer, and his wife, Sana, told me about the racism that followed 9/11. She was in New York when the towers were hit.
My experience in New York when I was there after 9/11 was pretty horrible because, I stopped telling people where I'm from, because if I tell them that I'm from Pakistan, they would make faces as if, I'm a terrorist or something like that. So I just stopped telling them. And after that, when I really wanted to come back, I didn't want to stay there any long, And at the end of the day, I started hating it like anything. I never want to go back there again. Never in my life.
Do you think, it'll eventually change back to where people do become...
If it changes, then probably yes, I would go. But, people seems to hate us a lot.
In America, whatever people think is what CNN and BBC portrays. Outside CNN and BBC, they don't see anything. So, but still, I've been there, I've stayed there, I like the place, I would love to go back. But I haven't been there after post 9/11, and
So you don't know how
I don't know how it is
like,
after 9/11. And this is what I hear from her.
It's pretty bad, At least I stopped telling people where I'm from.
Yeah.
What does that feel like to have to hide where you're from?
Well, it doesn't feel very good, It's like walking on the streets, people are staring at you just because you look a little Asian,
Yeah, one of my cousins, he's still studying in Florida, and after 9/11, in the first week, he got beaten up by, he was playing pool in this club, and there were a few guys. They came and they broke beer bottles on his head, and they started beating him up with billiard cues and stuff. And what he tells me is he was hospitalized for like a couple of weeks. He had the collar on and everything, and he tells me that there were cops there, and none of the cops came close to them because he was an Asian, he was a Pakistani, But he said there was one cop, he was an Afro-American, and he came in, he jumped in, and he stopped all those people from beating him up. But that's just one bad patch, you know, in his life. He's still there studying and everything, and I think you should turn off the camera now because we're ready to leave.
Hello, Mr. and Mrs. Graham. This is Usman. Obviously, you know who I am. We've had a good time. I'm leaving today. We're in Islamabad, so Andy's going to be staying here for about 2 or 3 days longer, and he's safe though. Everything's fine. He knows everything about this country now, and thank you for having faith in me. Obviously, thank you for having faith, because you know Andy's here, and you know I can imagine you must be worried, but Andy and I've had a awesome 2 months. Traveled all over Pakistan. My parents obviously will miss him. I'll miss him. But we hope that when this documentary is made, all that he's come here for pays off in the end. Like I was telling Andy, his documentary is going to change the way people view 130 million people in this world. And everybody who's heard about what he's doing, they've gone out of their way and are willing, and have been willing, and are willing to help him through anything. And he'll tell you his stories. I don't need to tell you all the stories. I have to say my goodbye. So goodbye to you all. Andy's on his own from now on. Miss you all, and wish I could have been with you guys. But honestly, with the way things are, they've put a lot of new rules and restrictions on Pakistanis coming to America. Even if you're going for a 2-week thing, they ask you for a year's bank statement, and the statement's supposed to show like $15,000, which when you convert it to our currency is a hell of a lot of money, and not everybody has it. So if you don't have that $10,000 in the bank, or whatever the amount is, they don't issue you a visa. Don't know when I'll see you, but hopefully it'll be soon enough. Other than that, love you all, especially you know my family over there, Mr. Graham, Mrs. Graham, Julie, Paul. Love you all to death. So that's that. See you all. Bye bye.
When I walked out to Usman's car and gave him a hug, I didn't want to say goodbye. But we both knew what was going on. We're best friends, brothers, and we're not going to see each other for years. Usman said, "Thanks for everything you're doing." And I said, "No, thank you. You've helped me make my first movie." I said, "Andy, thank you for helping my people." I watched him drive off until his car was gone. At that point, I had to see Pakistan with my own eyes. I had to form my own ideas. It was also at that point that I realized that this story isn't about two best friends. It's not about us being like brothers. It's about a family much bigger than mine. It's about the family of Pakistan. I flew back to Karachi and continued. Nader was there to pick me up at the airport with his friend, Akbar Alam.
Basically this is a shrine of a saint called Abdullah Shah Ghazi. I'm not a, what you call it, historian or expert on this, but this is what I've heard. Basically, it was an island, and he was on this island, and it was surrounded by seawater, and he asked God to provide him with drinking water. So according to legend, God created a spring out of which fresh water comes, and to this day there's fresh water coming from this spring. And then the people you saw outside, they have these shops where people cook huge dishes of biryani, and someone with money will come along and buy a big dish, and then it will be distributed for free amongst the poor. So a lot of poor people come here not only for pilgrimage but also for a free meal, so no one goes hungry.
I've heard people say that nobody goes hungry in Pakistan.
Nobody goes hungry in Pakistan because of shrines like this. I mean, if you're hungry and you don't have money, just find the closest shrine and you'll get free food. But you would find this in Iran, you would find this here, you would find this in India, in this region of the subcontinent.
What's Sufism all about? Is that a version of
Sufism?
Islam?
is a mystical form of Islam. It is Islam under the influence of Persia and Hinduism and Buddhism. It's a mystical form of Islam. They believe in reaching higher states of consciousness through dancing or through music or through singing. There's a lot of poetry, mystical poetry. There's, you know, basically mysticism in Islam.
Explain the story of this. We want to explain the story of the saint, or was it the angel or saint?
No, he's a human.
He's a human. Okay.
He's considered a prophet, I think, called Khizr, Hazrat Khizr alayhi salam. And legend has it that he's existed since time began, basically. And he's been helping out people who are lost, who are in trouble or something. It's like
the main thing is the main concept of Hazrat Khizr is that he's the king of sea. He's king of sea. Whenever you just lose your way in the sea, in the middle of sea, you can't go anywhere, and then they just pray for. They said, "Oh Khizr, just help us. Please help us like this," you know. And someone helped.
And he was seen here praying?
Yeah, you know, some guys from our village and maybe Mahmoud Ajwed, that old man's son.
ये बेटा हुआ है कि सारा दुनिया का शहंशाह हम लोग हो जाते हैं.
And he's saying that the previous president, Clinton, he had the opinion that since America is a world power, that they should help the poor people. So they used to send grain at a very low cost to Pakistan, and farmers here would resell it at a higher cost and make a little profit. And that was helping them, you know, helping the poor.
वो छोकरा जब इधर आया तो एक बड़ा.
And he's saying that even before American presidents like Kennedy, they would help out the poor. They would send free grain, and people here could resell it and make a profit. It was basically free. They would sell it and make a profit, right? And he just told me a story about Kennedy coming when he was in Karachi, and he stopped the boy on the camel. Basically, he stopped him and asked him, what are you doing? And does this camel belong to you? And he said, no, I'm just a servant. And he said, he asked the boy, how much do you earn? And the boy said, 2 rupees a day. All right. And Kennedy felt so bad about it that he took the boy with him. Basically, he said, forget about, the camel, forget about your job, just come with me. He was a president of America, but he had so much sympathy for the poor of the world,
And I'm asking him if he see some US people, some guys, some two or three guys who's thirsty here and not feeling well, and they are just injured like this, and what you do for them?
He's saying that he would do whatever he could for them. That he would, regardless of who they were, he would take them to the hospital maybe, or get them fixed, help them out basically. And I think one of these gentlemen asked, what if they were soldiers who had just come back from Iraq? And he said it doesn't matter because they're humans. And then he quoted a line from a poem. He said, it is always better to pick someone up who's fallen. It's always more interesting, or it's always better. It's always a better thing to do, to pick someone who's fallen down, to help him up, than to help someone who's already on their feet.
While we sat in his home, Ibrahim told me what he thought of me. He thought of me as his son. When Usman left America, he left family. Now it was my turn to leave family. But Ibrahim wasn't the only one. I was called family by so many. They told me that Ibrahim was 106. I felt a tear in my eye, and I knew why. I may never see my father Ibrahim again. While we sat and listened to him, he told us how he was a Muslim, but that he respected all the prophets, especially Jesus. He died on Christmas Day. I returned to America, and it was the same nation I left 3 months before, but something in me changed. I felt like I was more than just an American citizen. I felt like a citizen of the world. Everyone is a citizen of the world. The rights that come with this citizenship are not clear. I believe they should be made clear. Written down, respected, and remembered. I think this would solve a lot of world issues. 2 years after my trip to Pakistan, I flew to New York City. I saw people from every corner on earth in one place. Just hours before my flight to New York, the British and Pakistani intelligence worked together to stop a group of people. These people were going to blow up planes while they were still in the air. That threat reminded me just how serious the situation is. I've been harassed, questioned, detained, and watched because I was in Pakistan. And I can tell you, it doesn't feel good. In fact, it feels terrible. But I can tell you this. It feels a whole lot better than September 11th did. During my trip to New York, I went to Ground Zero. I could see that New York City had lost 2 of its big brothers. You could hear their absence, and they're not coming back. September 11th separated us. There's a story about that day that isn't widely told. Between the World Trade Center buildings, there was this plaza. In the middle of the plaza, there was a sculpture called the Sphere. It was built as a symbol of peace. When the hijackers crashed into the towers fell, but the symbol of peace lasted. There's hope in that. There's always hope, and there's always faith. My hope is for the world to ask each other, "Are you my brother?" My faith is that you'll say yes.
Thinking hard thoughts about a shadow that was never cast, by the light of the sun, the dark side of the moon. With every spectrum color sunset, there's a certain hint of death. Morning comes soon enough for some. Darker days call for brighter torches. These are the darkest of days. Fill my lamp and keep it burning. Guide my path, light my way. If there ever was a time we needed you, Lord, we need you now more than ever. Rumors of war spread like a speeding bullet. Lies being shot like a Gatling on a turret. Money makes the world go round and buys a re-election. Population dying off by natural selection, and nobody knows what's really going on, and nobody's really telling. Clouds are moving in fast and the lights are going dim. Days are getting longer and the nights are getting colder. One thing that I know for sure is I'm only getting older, and darker days call for brighter torches. These are the darkest of days. Fill my lamp and keep it burning. Guide my path and light my way. If there ever was a time we needed you, Lord, need you now more than ever. Darker days call for brighter torches. These are the darkest of days. Fill my lamp and keep it burning. Guide my path and light my way. If there ever was a time we needed you, Lord, need you now more than ever.